Welcome to A Comic a Day, and this month we are celebrating the birth month of my favorite comic book company, Aftershock Comics. They turned 2 this year, and my god has it been an absolutely brilliant 2 years since. But you'll see what I mean this month. As always, links to buy these comics are in the description, and become a patron to help support the Comic Archivist family of channels. Warning, massive spoilers are massive this month. On with the show. Second Sight number 5, Room with a View. Ray pulls himself away from Tess, letting go of her throat as her new husband comes in, ready to call the cops. Tony tries to defend her father's actions, but there's no point in it, and Tony and Ray leave. Though Tess's new husband does make sure to show how insecure he is by saying privately to Ray as they leave that they're having great sex, tons of orgasms, and just going for like 6 or 7 hour stretches. I'll be honest, I've had all-nighters before, but consecutively they could get a bit dull. Not the point. So while Tony and Ray are walking down the street, Tony brings up that now she knows that Tess was right about Ray, who then counters with, "Why did she come with him then?" Well, the simple thing is that Tony knows that she can't do it alone. So they then head to Bibliomaniac with EMTs rolling out John's corpse. Ray blames himself, but Tony points out that she got him into this, so it's actually her fault. Tony then ditches both of their phones in a bin, saying they'll have to keep in touch the old-fashioned way before the mobile phone existed, with Ray going, "I don't even remember how that happened." I want to make a joke of, haha, the druggie doesn't remember things, but frankly, even I'm a bit hazy on a world before mobiles at this point. But Tony has a friend who has an apartment nearby, but she's away, and Tony does have a key, so they go over to her apartment and finally check what's on the flash drive. There is a ton of photos and at least a dozen videos, but Ray brings up that Tony should definitely not be seeing this, to which Tony counters that no one should. However, Ray recognizes about half the people in the photos they're going through. They truly are the highest level of the Western caste system, and yeah, it'd shake everything up if they came to justice. Tony's going to use her friend's computer to upload them and let it all go viral, but Ray brings up that this needs to be sent to bigger news sources, comparing it to the Snowden leaks and how they went huge because they were given to the biggest media outlets in the US and the UK. If they came out of nowhere, it'd be easier for them to be brushed off as fakes. So Tony sets up her friend's computer and contacts so that in 3 days, the link to her Dropbox will be sent to everyone in her contacts list. Then we get back to daddy-daughter drama, with Tony saying that he at least owes her the answer to what happened in the hotel room 20 years ago that really got Tess against him. So Ray sits down and finally spills it all. After the pig was caught, Callahan kept bringing Ray in as a profiler on unsolved murder cases. It was going pretty well, the media liked him, and he was getting results. However, then the Reaper came along. He murdered at random, or at least no discernible pattern. Sometimes he'd leave quotes from the Bible, the Vedas, and basically just whatever religious text he felt at the time. It was all a theater game to the Reaper. And with how much of the shrooms Ray was taking, he was perpetually in an altered state when the visions would come at any time. Yet even more, the Reaper could basically summon him at any time to watch him play his sick games. Ray was a truly captive audience. And with so much time in the Reaper's head, it was changing Ray, slipping him away from what he knew of right and wrong. Then came the last victim, Shirley. That night the Reaper called Ray, but this time guiding him to a hotel room, room 333, which I'm not sure if it was just a random throwaway number, since double that is the number of the beast, or if they were going with the fact that 3 is considered a noble number in numerology, and 333 tends to mean freedom, or even the number that signifies an ascended master, which actually reflects very well with the story going on, so it could go either way. But when he entered the hotel room, he was face to face with the Reaper. He saw the Reaper, but he was also seeing himself through the Reaper's eyes. It was a psychic loop, basically just a paradox. After that, things get a bit hazy. Sometimes he sees it in his dreams as he killed Shirley, other times it's the Reaper as he watches, and even more, he sees it plays out as though he's high above watching himself and the Reaper. He'll never truly understand what happened in that hotel room, but when the cops showed up, he was in a dazed state. Shirley's blood was all over his hands, but on his face and in his mouth was a third person's blood, and scrawled on the wall is a Bible quote. You know, the one where Jesus says, "Eat me, you sick freaks," in so many words. Actually, it really works well because of the whole, "He who eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me and I in him." So you get a good, ooh moment. And the rest Tony should know. He was charged with the murder, so the press turned hard against him, claiming that he was the Reaper, though the actual Reaper didn't like that, turning himself in, which is how Ray got out of jail. But he was still in a very bad way. He was still having flashbacks, he was drinking too much, and Tess, who was 8 months along pregnancy-wise, was being her usual bitchy self. For a moment, Ray looked at her and saw the Reaper, and that's when he snapped. He hit her, nearly causing a miscarriage. And that's when she threw him out and all that jazz. It's a lot for Tony to process, but Ray asks for a copy of the files, and he goes to show them to Callahan, leaving Tony alone with her thoughts. Tony paces around the apartment, checking a picture of her and her friend Erica, who may be more than just a friend, before passing out on the couch until morning. Ray does not show back up. She throws on her jacket and rushes to a payphone to call Callahan, who says that Ray never showed up last night. Fearing no other option, she goes back into the apartment and takes the bag of shrooms from her dad's bag, popping it into her mouth to end the issue. So while the investigation may have gotten a huge hit with Snuff's death and the official outing of Deacon as the antagonist, it has stalled for a moment, and now it's time for the big problem with breaking any story: what to do with the information. That scene is actually pretty great when you have Tony thinking that she could just post all the information up on social media and everything like that, and it'd go viral instantly. With Ray being the one to go, no, we need to get this to a reputable news outlet. It's actually a large detail that an uncomfortable amount of thrillers and general news leak related plots overlook. Just uploading to the net doesn't mean it's going to be taken seriously or even seen. Hell, my own videos sort of prove that with barely 10 views on any given upload, and I leak some of the non-corporate books a lot. It's just a great addition to the story is what I mean. But of course, the real meat of this issue is that we finally basically have all the exposition and backstory about Ray's fall from grace and his split with Tess. I know I may say this a lot, but I really truly liked this, that it didn't pull any punches when it came to Ray being messed up. It's not even Ray's fall from grace that's interesting, but just the 5 or so pages of the Reaper that really brings it into a special sort of place, so that even when he goes, and yeah, I hit your mom, it doesn't quite justify his actions by any mean, but it does give a reason for it. Yeah, there's a slippery topic to talk about without the Wall Street Journal coming along to say that I'm all about spousal abuse, but honestly, it's fantastic in not glorifying it, and in fact, Tony, even knowing her father's mental issues, still is very negative about it. But it's just great for characterization and showing that Ray really does have some mental health issues. However, now that Tony is popping shrooms, what is going to happen in the epic finale to this series? Well, come back tomorrow for the last issue of Second Sight. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and this video. Check out my other 2 channels, Comic Archivist and ComicSins. Become a patron to get to choose the next comics we do for a comic a day, or even ComicSins. And as always, stay golden, Inklings.
Psycho killer on the loose again, demented brain in constant pain. Secret night.